everyone, and welcome to Wavy Tunnel Market Outlook, which will be for the week commencing July 13th, 2026. Before we start, let's have a look at the disclaimer, just to make sure that this presentation is for educational purposes only. If you can just read through the rest, and then we can crack on. Again, I just apologize. I'm traveling at the moment, and so I just have a computer, so it gets a little bit messy, and I will be quite brief. It's just to give you a little outline, give you a little insight, and then I'm sure Jody will give you a lot more color. Right, so it looks like over the weekend and just prior to the weekend, there was an escalation in the Hormuz region again. The market somehow seems to be batting this off, unless we see something when the markets open later tonight. But market seems, yeah, it's okay. And it's probably because of the number of times that it's been said that they're going to be smashed and then it's undone. And I think that's over 45 times that's happened. So that's probably why the market's becoming so. This could get nasty. So you need to be very, very careful and very wary. Economically, there's inflation on Tuesday, which we need to keep an eye on. That will be interesting to see how that plays out. PPI on Wednesday. These I don't think are going to be too much. The changes won't be too drastic just yet because I don't think the ships have arrived in port. Jobless claims always important, and then on Friday, some probably Michigan is the the standout data that we would be looking for. We're also in that season where earnings start coming out, so banks always kick off the earnings series. We can see on Thursday there's Netflix. See if there's anything else that's quite interesting. No, not at all. And you also have OPEX for option traders is option expiry on Friday, so something to be mindful of. Let's go and have a look at the currencies. Again, I'm not watching this all day, every day, like I normally do. So I'm looking at the charts quite fresh when I'm looking at them here. And I can see that we don't have too much going on. So slow grinding, slow grinding. So you've got your trend lines that are helping you here, consolidation area around the wave. We got the tunnel that's waiting above us, plus the trend line, plus the higher time frame tunnel. The bungees that are trying to roll over, maybe with price action that was going a little bit bearish towards the uh, close on Friday, which would mean dollar bullish. So let's go now into the lower time frame and see if we can pick up anything of interest. And you can see pretty range bound. It looks like, let's have a look, let's just squeeze this up a little bit. So we can see the moves here. So we correct in this move here. We correct in this move here. So that move has a target up about 115. There's a lot of scope to the downside. On the hourly, we can see now we're waiting for the wave to cross through the tunnel. All the bungees have gone lower. Awesome Oscillator is now taking cognizance of this first move lower. So I would say the 50% retracement level, this 114 area, is your first area of interest. Right down here, and let's have a look. You can see very clearly where your resistance area is, and there it is there. So 14.75. You can see that if we break 14, we are coming down to this area here. which is then the area that we really like for from a Fibonacci retracement perspective for the currencies. So there, you've got your bands. Go into your lower time frames, do your analysis, look at what the wavy tunnel is telling you, have a look and see where the semaphores are. What additional information are you getting from the bungees? What's the awesome oscillator telling you? Are we divergent? Are we not? And then we can go from there. So these are your levels in the euro. Again, it does look like we are going to be susceptible to announcements about attacks on Iran. This looks like it's a grind higher. So again, also a weaker close, but obviously sterling's a little bit stronger than the euro, and we can see that we have just got the higher time frame. So we trap between the higher time frame tunnel and the 4 hour. You've got the wave then that's intersecting the two. So very, very clear to see that this area is your no-go zone. You have to wait. Let's go to a lower time frame to see if we get a slightly better picture. You can there see the grind higher. There it is there, and it came into, you would have done all of this work and you would have had your little box up here, and bingo, there it is. So now it looks like we are going to come and try and do the fill the gap down to the tunnel on the 1 hour and obviously the 4 hour down there. So only a break below 133, let's call it 40, will send us a little bit lower, and then you've got the top zone, and again above that into the next area. Let's have a look and see if there's anything interesting on the bungees and the semaphores. And so it looks like any rallies might be sold in euro and in sterling. Map out your levels, pick your levels, get primed for the week and prepared. Canadian dollar, let's have a quick look. 4 hour. So we did have this long period that we were driving higher, and you can see that the Canadian dollar is reluctant to get too much stronger. Look at that, it looks like the dollar's trying to take back over again with that strong move. This is representative in all the currencies so far that we've looked at. Strong close in the dollar to begin with. Very, very narrow retracement, not even 25% here. Put a fib on this, map out all these levels. You can see where the fibs are the areas that will be pivot areas. Watch the tunnel now for your area above to see if we explode and go higher and try and get to 144.25. Otherwise, be aware of all your fib levels, your tunnel area here and your higher time frame tunnel there. Keep an eye on, I can see in this move down there's no divergence, but let's see how the dollar opens the week later on. And then our friend the yen is now maintaining above 160. So here's your 160 area that we've noted before was the line in the sand. There it is. And we're clearly above that, and now, as we always indicate, previous areas of resistance become now areas of support. So while we remain above 160, it's going to probe. And the market is, you can see it will take it higher, but there will be profit taking that comes in because they're scared of intervention. That probably wasn't intervention. It was probably a rumor of intervention, or somebody prompted something and down we came. But you could see that this ran into a big area of support around this 160. Let's have a look at the Aussie yen, because we always look at that one in conjunction, and that's sideways. Sideways. Looks like it wants to go higher, but sideways action. Watch the trend line, watch the tunnel for the next move. Above trend line, extend higher, start closing below the wave and the tunnel, and then you can see that this wave will continue lower. So that's it for the currencies. Let me get rid of that. Let me get rid of that. Let's go on to the futures. I've left that up for us. I've done a little bit of marking out the levels on the 4-hour chart for the Nasdaq, and you can see that we are range bound. 4-hour chart, you can see 28,600, 31,200. Broad range. We oscillating around the wave and the tunnel. Is the wave going to get back through the tunnel? Are we going to then start putting pressure back on 3600? Very difficult at the moment, and again, I'm not watching it, so it looks like there's a day where it goes down and then there's a day where it goes up, and you can see this is why you're getting these V-shaped moves. So those are my only observations that I'm seeing. Nothing too can't get too excited. This week will probably show us a little bit more. Look at the price action at the end of the week. Market's not really interested in selling. They just want to buy. Let's have a look and see where the options levels are for the Nasdaq. And you can see we were pivoting around this area here, and we stayed here most of Friday afternoon, trying to see if we had momentum to get higher. And because it's a weekend, I think the market just went into let's wait and see what happens over the weekend, because anything can happen, and so we will get some direction when markets open a little bit later. So clearly, where the levels we've marked out, you can see them. They also then marked out a lot of congestion down here between 29,200, 29,600, but you can see it also slow. So it's narrowing. It's going to break out at some point. So we're waiting for that breakout. Let's go to the S&P, and again it's the same. A little bit more robust than the Nasdaq. And you can see we're coming into this area 76.5. What are we going to do? So 74.5, 76.5, broadly the range. Above that, you start probing new highs, but are we going to push through? You've got earnings starting to come through. You've got this on-off conflict that is going on. You've got people screaming very loudly about what I was trying to say, AI, semiconductors, and overbought, and too much too soon. And so just be aware, map out your charts, have a look at the areas, and we can go from there. What does S&P say on the options? You see similar again. Look at the narrow bands. So everything's going to be, this is like trench warfare. You get to this trench and you battle with this area. So then you stay between those two levels. And get above that, then you become into they're all very narrow. Maybe after Friday and after OPEX, we start seeing a little bit more direction. But look at the price action on these. The standout over the last couple of days, look at that, buyers on dips, because that's represented by wicks. And then you can see all the indecision candles when we in the trench on the level where all the gamma interest consolidates and where the market fights. A good example this of where you can see where you're trying to get through a level, you get through the retest. Obviously this was an aggressive retest, but look where it finished. We kept closing above. So once we got out and we closed above, we never closed below that again. So this becomes your pivot area. So watch that. Oil, like I've told you all the time, markets sell on rallies. And you can see now, even with conflict, But let's see what happens in um, later today when markets open. We're in no man's land. We're looking, so you can see 76 and a half. Above that we start pushing back towards 80. Stay below 76 and a half. We keep having a look at 66. You can see there's a very strong base in here. You can see then the price action here. Moves are getting less, and so yeah, we waiting to see. Gold, same, same. Markets have been so conditioned into buying dips, and central banks have been buying a lot of gold, which has supported gold over the last while. But obviously their priorities have been altered, so this might be on hold for now. So rallies might be good areas to sell, and you can see the big obstacle here around 4400, 44 and a half. Above that it's quite clear all the way up to 49 and a half, but when I say clear, there will be steps in it. It doesn't look like the market. You can see the strong side. The market is weaker. You can see the moves and then the grinds. So just be vigilant, be careful. A lot of news going to be out. Tight risk management. Get your charts all set up properly. Get your levels defined. Look for the setup, and have a profitable week. I will see you next week. Take care.